couple of things in Greenleaf that had me like, Hi, my name is Jamie, and welcome to J-Bug Jamie. Oh, I'm so out of breath today. That's how Greenleaf has me, out of breath. I cannot believe what I just watched last night. Whew. Okay, let's get through this review. Welcome to J-Bug Jamie again. My name is Jamie, and I have a sheet here I'm going to be looking over. So if I look down, putting on my glasses, let's see if the fit is right. Got my glasses on. Now let's talk about Greenleaf. Greenleaf is a new show that premiered last night on OWN Network, the Oprah Winfrey Network. And it's a series that follows the Greenleaf family, which is a megachurch family, and it goes through their family life. Premiere episode, and we got a chance to meet all of the characters. We got a chance to kind of get a feel for what the show might be about. And if you've been watching the clips that they have posted on OWN's YouTube, you kind of, if you really paid attention, you kind of have a gist of what the show is about as far as the characters. It starts off with Grace Greenleaf. She's in the car with her daughter, and they're being chauffeured with the driver. They're headed home. They haven't been home, I guess, in a long time. Grace is actually, I'm not sure if she's a journalist, but she does some type of media work, and they're in the car, and the driver's talking to them. He's reminding Grace about what it was like when she was a preacher, and about how he remembered going to church and watching her preach and everything. And then the daughter talks about how her mom might be getting a job with 2020. I like how they threw in that reference of 2020, Oprah, Barbara Walters. It was really cute. So they're driving up, and Grace suddenly asks the driver to stop. She's like, "Stop. I want to get out right here. There's this big lake." He's like, "No, I'm supposed to take you all the way to your front door." She's like, "No, I want to stop right here." So they get out, they stop. She looks over at this beautiful lake, and you can see like this pristine cinematography, which is beautiful. I love the cinematography, showing the trees, everything is just beautiful. And she's kind of remembering what it was like growing up. I believe that is a plantation, because the lake is connected to their property. It looks like it's a plantation. And also in the theme, it kind of showed like a plantation. It showed slavery. It showed the correlation between the black church and slavery. So I'm thinking that's a plantation that they live on. So when she gets out the car, the driver starts talking about, he remembers the first time that he went to the church, or he remembers what his mom would say about, the church and everything like that. He used like a word, like he used an expletive to describe what his mom would say about going to the church. I can't quite remember his exact words. So cut to Grace and her daughter starts walking to the property. They're greeted by, I believe, the dad, Bishop GreenLeaf, greets them. And he's like, has his arms extended out. He's like, "The prodigal daughter has returned. I missed you." And he's welcoming to her. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me know, I believe her uncle walks out, which is, I have my notes here. The uncle is, what's his name? Oh, her uncle Robert walks out. He kind of gives her this stern, like weird, evil look. Then her mom walks out, very stoic. Mrs. May Greenleaf, the beautiful Lynn Whitfield. I mean, Lynn Whitfield is a phenomenal actress. She really got into this character. I know some people are saying that she tends to play the same roles in certain movies, like, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate and things like that. But I think she's very diverse. She was Josephine Baker. I'm just, as a shortcut too, I want to talk about Lynn real quick, so bear with me. She was in Josephine Baker. She was in this really great movie you guys should watch, Dancing at the Savoy. She's done so many movies. Eve's Bayou, she played the mom. So Lynn Whitfield I think she embodies what it is to act. And that's like a big feat to me. I'm really into actors and actresses, and really, I wouldn't say I critique actresses and actors, but I really like to see crisp acting. I like to see actors become the character. and become that person. I really feel like Mrs. May, First Lady May, she really embodied her characters. I won't say she embodies all of First Ladies, and that's one thing I want to say before I continue talking about the series last night, the premiere. This show does not represent every church, because I feel like no church is the same. No church is equal as far as how the everyday life of church goes on. People tend to watch these shows and they think they have an ideal of what the church is like, when it's not necessarily true. Every pastor is different and every church is different. Although it may look the same, no church is run the same and no pastor is the same. And her Uncle Mac gives her this weird look. Then her mom comes out, First Lady May, and she hugs her, gives her, I believe, a double kiss on the cheek, and, you know, tells her, I hope you're not here to sow discords in the whatever. I can't remember the exact words, but don't sow discords. Yes, Lynn. Yes, Lynn. Yes. You're a great actress. So then she's like, no, Mama, which I love. I love Grace. I like the Grace that they chose. She seems like, we'll see as the series goes on, but this Grace is cool. So then the daughter hugs the grandfather. They go inside. Oh, before they go inside, now, is it me? Comment down below if you watch this video and let me know. Why did the Greenleaf family, now this is just my observation, outsider looking in, why did they need a red carpet? I know that's like decorate, everyone interior design is different, but a red carpet, like they have the red carpet rolled off. I guess it's Bishop. I guess this pastor lives the red carpet gospel life, or red carpet Christian. They go inside. Then after they meet, it cuts to Lamont Rucker, who plays Jacob Greenleaf, and his wife, Carissa Greenleaf, who is played by Kim Hawthorne. So it cuts to Lamont Rucker and Kim Hawthorne, and they have their scene. And Carissa Greenleaf is very, how would I describe her? She's very serious, everything has to be perfect. She has to look good. She has to seem like everything is going great in her life, well put together. But then, is it me? They made her character give like these weird looks to people. Like, have you ever been around a lot of people and you look around and somebody's just giving you like this weird, like, this look? Like, Carissa's character gives a good, I have to watch Carissa this season. She's like, so anyway, so it cuts to Lamont. He's talking with his wife. I had a moment there. Lamont Rucker. Anyway, it cuts to Jacob Greenleaf, who's talking to his wife Carissa, and you know how perceived husband and wives talk, because no husband and wife is the same. I gotta put that out there. And then the daughter's in the bathroom getting ready, and they're getting ready to go to the Greenleaf family, the main plantation compound, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call it a plantation. I shouldn't say that. The main family compound where they all get together. They're getting ready for dinner at the Greenleaf house. And then it cuts to Charity Greenleaf and her husband, Kevin. I can't remember his last name. But is it me? But doesn't Charity look like, I know she's a Winans, but she looks just like, if you're not familiar with this group, but there's this group called Angie and Debbie. I used to love them growing up. That was like my group. They had the best song. And they have this one song with Whitney Houston. It's really good. Look that up. So Angie and Debbie, you look just like your auntie. Like, the Winans genes is strong. Anyway, so Charity's talking to her husband Kevin. They're getting ready to go over to the Greenleaf family house. And so it cuts to the Greenleaf family house, and I hope I'm not skipping anything. They're all sitting around the table having dinner. I'm going to put this right here for a second. You have the Bishop James GreenLeaf at the head of the table. You have Lady May at the other side of the table. You have Kevin, Carissa, Grace, Charity, Jacob. I'm trying to get a feel for all the characters. The daughters are there. So they're talking. Even Uncle Mac is there. They're talking about, you know, where Grace has been this whole time, and they're kind of, oh, I forgot to mention, Grace came back for her sister's funeral, I believe. Her sister Faith, who was committed suicide, who, and if I'm wrong, let me know. She's no longer with us. Rest her soul, Grace Greenleaf. But for her funeral and everything, so they're sitting down at the table, and Carissa, starts talking about asking Grace if she still goes to church back in, whether she's in New York, I'm not specifically sure, but does she go to church or whatever? And so Grace is like, no, I don't go to church all the time. Maybe Easter, on holidays, that's when we go to church. And so Carissa's like, do you believe in Jesus? Like, what do you believe? And she's like, I believe all religions lead to God. She didn't say those exact words, but that's what she implied. All religions lead to God. And so that kind of made Grace go, no, honey. She didn't say that part. That kind of made Grace, she didn't say the honey part, take that out. But that made Grace say, no, what about Jesus? And so the Bishop James is agreeing with Grace. He's like, it all leads to one. And side note, no matter who's watching this video, this is a disclaimer, side note. These are my opinions, my observations, my belief. Whatever it is me. That doesn't mean you have to believe it. It just means, this just means this is what I feel, this is what I believe. So I'm going to say this part. I feel like if you're a Christian and you say that you're a Christian, you believe in your faith wholeheartedly. You don't quit. You believe everything about the Word of God. You believe that Jesus Christ is the only true and living way to the Father, which is God. And if you believe in Muslim, you believe that Allah is your only way to God. Buddhists, they believe that Buddha. It's like, for me, you can't sway every which way. If you're a Christian, you believe in the foundations of the faith. You believe you can defend the faith. You know exactly what you believe. There's no hesitation. You're not saying all roads lead to one because you're a Christian. You believe that one road leads to God. So I had to say that. For me, I felt like that Bishop should have really, you don't want to, religion is a topic that really can stir a lot of things in a lot of different people, but he's the bishop, so he should have said, you know what, there's only one way, and that's through the Son, Jesus Christ, because that's his belief. He's defending the faith. So Lynn's character did it, Lady May. She did say Jesus is the only way, and the Carissa's character quoted scripture, but she didn't say exactly where it was found. I wish she would have done that, just to give people a reference point that may not be religious or that are religious. They can go back and look that up. So my mom said it was John something. It was found in John, that scripture she quoted. Anyway, so that part kind of was like, I wish that Bishop James would have not just said it all leads to one, because you're the leader, you're the bishop, all these people, you're their pastor, so you're responsible to make sure that they know that they have an assurance of their salvation. They know exactly where they're going. If you're in the Christian faith, the pastor, he's the leader of the church. So if he doesn't know that it is only one way, I don't know what the congregation believes, but that part to me was like, I wish. I'm gonna give you because it's just the first episode, so we don't know how that develops, So then they kind of cut that conversation, and the little nieces, they asked to kind of go off on their own to, they hadn't seen each other in so long, so I guess they want to kind of reconnect. I'm not sure about their names. I'll have that tomorrow's review. I'll know their names. So they go off, they're talking, and Carissa and Jacob's daughter is talking about what it's like to be her daughter, how hard it is, and how she has to keep up good grades because I believe her mother is the principal of the school, or she has some type of high position in the school, so her grades are very important. And she pulls out some prescription pills, or first when she pulled out the prescription pills, I was like, okay, she pulled out something else I thought it was. I won't say what I thought it was, but she pulled out something that made me go, Anyway, she pulls out the Ritalin and she begins to snort it up her nose, and she offers it to her cousin. And I hate that they introduce. I just don't want kids doing drugs. And I'm not saying they didn't show them snorting it. I thought that was good. And, but I hate that I mean, I know people out there are young people who are doing these things, and then there are young people who are not doing these things. That was really tough to see those two young ladies snort that Ritalin. Grace's daughter is kind of talking to her about what it's like, and Carissa's daughter says, "Did you feel it? Are you getting like a feel?" She's like, "Yeah, I feel it." So it cuts from that scene. I skipped over when Grace saw Noah. I believe they grew up together, and I believe they had a little relationship. I want to get back to Noah's relationship with his current girlfriend. I have an opinion on that. But anyway, so they cut to, well, let's just talk about it. They cut to Noah and his fiance / girlfriend. They're talking, and if I skip something, just let me know. It might be a little off. But they cut to Noah and his girlfriend. They're talking about, she's asking about what it was like to see Grace. How did she look? And he had to Noah was reassuring her that Grace has nothing on her. That scene I really could have done without. I wish her character they would have introduced her character as more confident. I just wish that her character they both are beautiful. Grace is beautiful and Noah's fiance is beautiful. So then they cut to this whole thing about Noah and his fiance. They start making out, and it comes up that they are saving it for marriage. But then it comes up that not just saving it for marriage. She asked, could she stay the night or stay there, I guess whatever. So she starts saying that there's other things that they can do while they wait until marriage. And so that part was like, what? Because I know that's like a huge topic in the Christian faith, is waiting till marriage. And then people who have these positions in the church and they don't wait till marriage, they're shacking up, they're having premarital sex. That's something that people don't really like to talk about, because they like to glaze into the parts of the Bible that they love and the parts of the Bible that they don't really care for. So they kind of live their life based on what makes them feel happy with some people. So that part was like, yeah, there are people who are out there saving the part for marriage, saving one part of themselves for marriage, but still doing other things. And to me, it's like you're either all in or you're out. So you can't have both for me. It cuts to Grace calling her aunt Mavis on the phone, which is played by the Oprah Winfrey, Mrs. Winfrey. She calls her on the phone. They have like a, how are you? How's your trip? Everything. They go over, haven't seen you in a long time. I can't wait to see you. And I think Mavis tells Grace, if you can get out of the house, if you can sneak away, they're talking about linking up, connecting and reconnecting. Oh, I skipped over a part. The uncle at the dinner table, Uncle Mac, I already kind of knew before they introduced about him being a possible child molester, statutory rape. I already kind of figured through the previews and everything like that that's what he might be. But he has this deep-seated, I wouldn't say hatred, but deep-rooted need to make sure that whoever he truly is, that it's not revealed. And he looks at Grace like she knows something, which I'm deeper than his connection with her sister's death, because she makes a statement that the mom kind of let Faith go. So there is a connection between Uncle Mac and Grace GreenLeaf that I can't wait to kind of see unfold deeper than the connection between Uncle Mac and Faith and those other young girls that Aunt Mavis was telling Grace about. And so, okay, let's cut to the church. So they're in the church having worship service, and Charity's up singing, and Pastor GreenLeaf is talking. And this scene right here, there was many scenes that kind of had me like, But the scene that had me I had a brown face cloth in my hand because I had washed my face, and I had stopped in between commercials to, enjoy the show. So I'm sitting down. This scene here had me like this, you guys. It was a couple of scenes in Greenleaf that had me like, like, I know no church is perfect, but Jesus Christ, like, you guys, not every church is doing some of the things that the Greenleaf church is doing, that the Greenleaf family and their particular church is doing. So one of my favorite people who I love him. I love him so much. Lamont Rucker. His scene just had me like, Lamont's character, which is Jacob, was already sneaking and having phone conversations with Bishop Greenleaf's secretary. He was already talking to her sneakily on the phone, but he went into one of the rooms in the church and had sex with the secretary in the church while Sunday service is going on. People really doing this in church? Are people having sex in the church? Have we lost all respect for the house of God, for worship? Jacob, I was like so disappointed in you. I still love you, but I was just so disappointed. So after he's done having sex, he goes back out, kind of brushes his suit off, gets himself, looking right, goes into the church. His wife gives him that look. Like, his wife, I don't know, this show is going on. It's like, this is the first episode, but his wife is very smart. She is not dumb, and I'm sure she probably knew, which we'll probably find out later on in the episode. She knew that she knows about their relationship, but she probably knows they've been having sex in the church, because you can't keep nothing. Everything done in the dark will come to light. So she kind of gives him this look like, I forgot to mention that Charity asked, this review is all over the place. Tomorrow's review will be much better, but I hope you guys are liking it so far. So Charity asked Bishop Greenleaf if she could preach a sermon on the relationships, Christian relationships, godly relationships. I'm not particularly sure. He's like, no, you sing really well, stick to singing, but grace? Oh, I can't wait for you to preach, Grace. And so Charity gets this whole, she has like a jealousy kind of situation going on with Grace. I hope that situation is fixed throughout the episodes, or we get to know where that all stems from. Because a person looking from the outside in could think that you can come to so many conclusions. This was the part, before we go back to the church, that got me, was that Charity asked her dad if she could preach. He says no, so she's relaxing with her husband, Kevin, and he's like, why would you even bring that up when you don't even study? Like, that's just something you made up. Like, you weren't even prepared, you just wanted to get his attention. That part I didn't like, because I cannot stand when a person wants to get before God's people or get before anyone and pretend as though they're really a part of the faith and they really believe what they're talking about. So many people do that, like get up ill prepared, but come off like they know so much about God's word. It comes off sincere, but it's really not. They don't even study, they just make up things. That part I really didn't like. For her being supposed a woman of God, don't pretend like you have something prepared and you really don't. You really had no real intentions to help Christian relationships or really help the membership of the church. It was just about self for Charity, making Charity feel good. And that part I really didn't like. And I know a lot of people, a lot of the characters are very they come off very selfish, very about me. James GreenLeaf, when he made the statement that he didn't even know half of his members of his church, I really feel like, I know there are a lot of mega churches. I don't go to a mega church, but I've been to mega churches, and I cannot speak for every mega church, but just like, statement right there alone was just really like, I don't really know half of the people in the church. Even if you barely know them, it should be your goal to get to know. That's why you're the leader. It's like, he can come off kind of superficial at times. So I'm back in the church, and Bishop James GreenLeaf gets up to preach. He starts talking about God. Your relationship with God is like having a bunch of emails, and his sermon it didn't do anything for me. But you know, it did something for Grace. She got all in her feelings. She was crying, and she's like, yeah, you know that part in churches, some churches where they go, won't you come? Will you come? Won't you come? Come on to the Lord. Come on, come on, come on. You a sinner saved by grace. Come on down to here and get to know the Lord. Get assurance of your salvation. Yes. You know, that happens in some churches. So Grace comes down. She hugs her dad and she's crying, and then she locks eyes with her uncle Mac. No, a husband and wife come down. They're kneeling down at the little makeshift banister altar, aka altar. They're kneeling down. He's praying with them, and then he makes a little statement about how they won the lottery, but they decided to come to church. You know, again making it about money. And so Grace locks eyes with her Uncle Mac, and he's giving her like this, like weird, evil, like the look that he gave her and the look that she gave him was like very telling. It was very powerful too, as far as acting goes. I really like that scene. He's a good actor, the guy that plays Mac, and then Grace was just, the look that they gave each other was without even talking. That's good acting. When there are no words, but all in the face. They both did it for the face. So they give each other this look. We'll find out as the series goes on the meaning behind that look. So cut to the end of service. This DA comes in, and Bishop James was kind of nervous anyway, because I think their family has had to deal with police a lot because of the uncle. So he wanted to make sure, what is this about? You know, I'm going to have to clean something up. What do you need? So the DA was basically saying, we want to look into your records. And then he goes, well, what about this person? What about this bishop? What about this pastor? He was like, yeah, we're looking into them, but we're talking about you. And then he brings up, you know, well, this white person, they're going to be looking into Bishop James' funds of the church to see what he's doing with the money. Because, mind you, Bishop James GreenLeaf comes off very money oriented. Like the catalyst behind everything he does in the name of God, money, dollar signs is right there. Like it's God, and dollar signs are all around the word God. That's how he comes off. It doesn't come off like he's doing it for the love of God and for the love of the people and to help people, feed people spiritually and feed people mentally. It's more like feeding of his own pockets. We'll see how that goes as the season goes on. So then they leave the church, and it cuts to Grace standing on the top of the banister of the plantation house, and she's on the phone. She calls Mavis, and I might have said that before, but she calls Mavis, and she runs out. Now, this could be wrong, but I'm saying this, so correct me if I'm wrong. Mavis gets in the car, and Grace gets in the car and drives to see Mavis, and they have a conversation about, you know, how she's been, what it was like for Grace growing up with Mavis, and then they start talking about Uncle Mac, and then we get to really, Mavis gives little snippets as to, you know, he's at it again, we gotta stop him. Now, mind you, I wonder if Mavis and her brother, if something happened between them. It's good that she's so invested in making sure that children are safe and that they stop him from continuing to do this to young people. And plus, did you notice how Uncle Mac was looking at his two nieces when they walked off? I was like, he's looking at them kind of strong. You got to watch him. Anyway, so they're having a conversation, and they're talking about how they have to stop Mac. And, you know, they have to really nip him in the bud, and really, because he's gotten away with this for so long. Now, this is where I'm going to stop because I cannot remember what happens next. First, I want to thank you guys for sitting and watching this review of Greenleaf. I want to end it by saying that it seems like it's a really well-written series. The writing was good. The acting was good. Some of the actors really it was strong last night. So tonight, I'm hoping for the same thing. I'm hoping to learn more about each character. Lynn Whitfield, for me, is the standout as far as last night. Her character really did it for me. I'm just going to name some people that really stood out to me. Lynn Whitfield's character, Lady May. Carissa Greenleaf, her character stood out to me because she played that mean kind of giving you the eye, staring you down, telling you how she feels, just very strong, opinionated. She played that really well. I really want to see how the relationship between the two cousins develop, that whole dynamic. Grace's character, I really enjoyed that scene in the church. That was like a standout scene for me. Her stare down with Uncle Mac. I loved listening to little key points of Bishop James GreenLeaf. I love listening to him talk. I hang on every word he says because I'm like, okay, Bishop, all right. I'm not too sure about you, but we'll see as the show goes on. I enjoyed Mavis. I want to know more about her story, and it is true. I saw a clip where Oprah was talking about how there are black sheep in the family, like people who distance themselves from certain parts of their family. They kind of stay off to the side. So I'm really interested to see what keeps her away from the family. I know she's different, but we're all different. Like, just because you're a Christian doesn't mean that you don't know how, well, you should be able to love everybody, interact with everybody, which we'll talk more about that as we go on. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow for another review of episode 2 of Greenleaf. One more thing, I really love the song that you guys did with, I really enjoyed the song that Shirley Caesar did. It's one of her old songs, but she kind of remade it. So good job, Shirley Caesar. So first episode down. This is my very first review. So thank you guys for hanging on with me. I'm learning how to do this. I did it my own way. So there's no right way to do a review. And thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.